one of our favorite comedies, What We Do in the Shadows, back for season three, dropping two episodes on premiering on FX. I believe it was last Thursday, and then FX on Hulu on Friday. That's how I consumed it. What'd you think of the season three premiere?
I quite enjoyed it. Just more what we do in the shadows. Nothing out of the realm of expectations for the show, but that's quite all right because this show is hilarious. Definitely the funniest show on TV. They just cram so many jokes and laugh out loud moments into every minute. I don't even know what's like in the conversation for it because I think the other hotly hyped comedy these days, Ted Lasso, is not on the level of jokes of what we do in the shadows. That's for sure.
Yeah, you think about the other show I was thinking might be in the conversation for best comedy is something like I Think You Should Leave, which check out that breakout
Sure.
review if you're watching this. Um, I think You Should Leave is tough because it's a sketch show, so there's no continuity from the previous 5 minutes to the next 5 minutes. It's just something different, new setup, new thing. What We Do in the Shadows. If you go back and check our first season review, I thought it was pretty good, but I wasn't totally blown away with it. But the way that the show's been able to build off itself, and like you said, it ties in so many different jokes and so many things that have uh, paid off from earlier seasons at this point. It's really operating at the level of a lot of our favorite sitcoms from the past, things like Parks and Rec, The Office, shows like that. It really feels like it's on the path to potentially be on par with those sorts of things. But I wonder how many people are actually watching this. I don't see a lot of discourse about it, which is a little disappointing.
So
Do you
it's
talk to people about it a
it's
lot?
its viewership did go up 100% season 2 to season 1. So that's a positive sign. We'll see how season 3 does. But yeah, it definitely feels like it's more like the in the know person's comedy.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, Good Place is gone. Veep is gone. Silicon Valley's gone. Ted Lasso is more about the vibes than the actual jokes. If you're into comedy, you got to be watching this. It's just
Mhm.
it is what it is. Um, I mean, just it's the same kind of stuff, but like the well is still quite full of finding humor in vampires not understanding the modern day world and modern culture and stuff like that. It's just the gift that keeps on giving. It's a lot of really simple observations and premises, but it's just so effective.
Yeah, it does work really well. It, I'm just trying to think about like what's another even comedy that's really popped off this year. Something like Hacks. Just isn't on the
Sure.
same
Yeah.
level of jokes. And
That's more of
that's a
a
season
comedy
one,
drama than anything.
right? So it really feels like a singular show. For this time particularly, talking about the way that the premise pays off, I feel like in the second episode of the season that paid off really well with Nandor having everybody use the duplicating cloak to go try
Cloak
to
of
get a date.
duplication.
Yeah, to try to go get a date with the girl at the front desk of the gym he goes to sometimes, which also him talking about how they used to work out in the Middle Ages and test their strength, and then seeing him at the gym now is just a really that was a great bit. But I loved that running bit of each person taking a shot at getting a date with that girl.
Yeah, yeah, I don't think she's into guys. And she wasn't into guys. It was so good. Um, like they kind of hinted at this, I think, and I saw this remarked upon in some press that it's going to continue the origins of Colin Robinson in terms of the origins of like energy
Yeah,
vampires and how they're different. I mean, anything revolving Colin Robinson is good with me because it's
gold.
just fucking the funniest shit ever. Yeah. The
Yeah,
fact that they're like in a leadership position in the council,
yep.
great. I'm sure that's gonna go well. I love the conflict they had with some younger vampires. Bernie Bro esque.
Yep.
More anti-establishment folks. That was really great comedy as well.
Yeah, I love it when Colin Robinson comes in and the other energy vampires like, oh my god, Colin Robinson, like, it's just totally like I've looked up to you for years. You're a legend. I loved that just because you never really see him in that
Wait, are you draining me right
sort of
now? No,
space.
I wouldn't do
Yeah.
that.
So good. Um, yeah, I mean, if you had to pick a favorite moment from the first two episodes, anything that stands out?
Good question. I guess it's everything with the cloak, you know,
Yeah.
especially once Laszlo fails. Um, yeah, but I mean, this, and actually, I didn't know about this, but the way they make the show actually is that they do tons and tons of bits. A lot of it's scripted, and they'll eventually do more takes that are less scripted than the original idea, and they just
Mhm,
really like whittle it down. So there's so much left on the cutting room floor with the
mhm.
show, and it's actually very intentional, very thoughtful in terms of what makes the episode, and that's cool to hear. And you can tell that like it's very considered because they can't jump the shark. You can't get too dumb,
Yeah,
and I think that's always on their mind. That's what they've said anyway. The
yeah.
showrunner and Jermaine Clement and whatnot.
I loved all the stuff with Guillermo in the first episode, how he's in the prison but can get out anytime he wants, and it's
Giving him
just
raw chicken,
yeah,
just
he's
not
just
knowing how humans eat.
hilarious. That I loved that. Loved seeing Taika show up in that video from the head vampire council. I
Oh
thought
right,
that was like a nice little nod to the origins of the show.
right. Especially because
Um,
he's less involved with like the producing of the show, um,
yep.
than Clement is. So that's cool to see.
But I think definitely my favorite line from the first one, and I texted it to you immediately, was Laszlo. And when they're picked to be like the head of this, the Staten Island or tri-state area vampire council, is saying, "I didn't become a vampire to be a bureaucrat. I became a vampire to suck blood and fuck for the rest of my life, or for the rest of eternity." Just an
Yeah.
amazing line. And Matt Berry is just like so good at delivering the
Mhm.
lines as Laszlo, and then him going into the whole porn thing at that like
Right.
council place. It's just amazing, amazing stuff from him. So
Oh god.
Jackie Daytona remains one of my favorite
Yeah.
episodes of TV from last year. So
I wonder if they bring back Jackie Daytona one day. Season 4 is going into production this fall. It's already been renewed. So maybe down the line, Jackie Daytona is going to come back in some fashion. I wouldn't be surprised.
God, I hope so. So good stuff. If you enjoy comedies, and who doesn't, I think you have to be tuning into this show.